things just got a lot worse, and a new escalation just happened today in America's cities. All right, we are seeing major escalations in places like Portland and Chicago, and today we saw that escalate into a armed conflict between federal law enforcement and quote protesters slash rioters. All right, this is getting very dangerous and very serious, and this is a new front that we are moving into. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see here, it says that this video, the DHS, it says a armed driver rams car into federal agents in Illinois. They're saying that the driver got out of the car and was armed, and federal agents had to fire upon them. All right, very serious what's going on, and it needs to de-escalate. You can also see here more than 1,000 arrested in Chicago during Operation Midway Blitz. We will get into that in just a second. And we are also seeing new plans to deploy the U.S. Army to Portland, all right, to send elite Army units there. We will get into more details of that in just a second, but I want you guys to listen to this video here, all right? Trump is now announcing, too, that he is going to federalize the National Guard inside of Illinois, up to 300 members, to help crack down on the chaos there. But let's listen to this to get some more details of what happened today, because this is a major warning that things are continuing to escalate, especially over the past month. We've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen, and it hasn't slowed down. It's only gotten more intense, it feels like, and that's not what we want. Let's listen to this.
Christina Coleman, quick. She has the latest on this morning's attack on law enforcement in Illinois. Christina.
Hi, John. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin says law enforcement officers were boxed in by 10 cars this morning in Broadview, Illinois, the very same area where anti-ICE crowds have been gathering for days. She said, quote, agents were unable to move their vehicle and exited the car. One of the drivers who rammed the law enforcement vehicle was armed with a semi-automatic weapon. She says law enforcement fired defensive shots at an armed U.S. citizen who drove herself to the hospital to get care for wounds. McLaughlin also said that the armed woman was named in a CBP intelligence bulletin last week for doxing agents and posting online, hey, to all my gang, let's F them up. Don't let them take anyone. Very disturbing.
All right, there's more to this video. There's a lot more, but just so you guys get the full picture here, DHS was operating in Illinois. They were doing a transport, and they were suddenly surrounded by a bunch of cars and boxed in, they're saying, and somebody got out of the vehicle, this woman who they identified last week on their bulletin, making threats against ICE and federal law enforcement. I don't know how she's allowed to just do this. They have her on the bulletin. I don't know how she wasn't at least apprehended or arrested or talked to or something. People say the craziest things online and all over the place, and nothing happens to these when they're threatening federal law enforcement. And she then got out of the car. It was the same woman with a weapon, and they shot at her, and she drove herself to the hospital after she was shot. It seems that she is okay for now, but it's just insane situation that's going on in the streets of America. All right, let's listen more of this.
Things got violent outside of the ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois, again early yesterday morning. Take a look at that, with anti-ICE protesters clashing with law enforcement. Approximately 250 anti-ICE protesters gathered there. Federal agents fired pepper balls and tear gas to try and break up the crowd, blocking federal operations. Today, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker put out a statement saying the Trump administration intends to federalize 300 members of the Illinois National Guard in the coming hours. Pritzker said, quote, this morning, the Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your troops or we will. It is absolutely outrageous and un-American to demand a governor send military troops within our own borders and against our will. Pritzker maintains that there's no need for military troops on the ground in Illinois, and he says he will not call up the National Guard. Meantime, in Portland, another city with ongoing violence outside of an ICE facility, a fist fight broke out between an ICE supporter and anti-ICE protester. You could see there in that video that was a conservative influencer who had been arrested by Portland police, explained to our Bill Malusian what had happened. He has since been released. But there you go. You could see that fist fight between that ICE protester and anti-ICE supporter. There you go. There you see him laid out. That's just some of the ongoing violence there. Now, federal authorities say local politics is impacting police involvement. Take a listen.
Unfortunately, local police has...
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on the way that they're carrying this guy. What is going on? Is this guy just like knocked out
going
on the ground here? The way they're carrying him away. I thought this guy was the anti-ICE protester. I saw this video before. Maybe he was just not cooperating and just laying there after he got hit, and so they just picked him up. It was kind of funny. I didn't even catch that the first time I watched this video, that they just picked him up by his arms and legs and just dragged him off. It's insane what's going on in these cities. And I don't know how people have time and money to just be standing outside these ICE facilities all day and all night. Like, where are they getting money from? Food, working, school, whatever they're doing. Like, how are they doing it and just protesting 24/7? And this is like, seems very coordinated. It's happening all over the country. There's just, hundreds of people that are able to stand outside these facilities all day long. It's kind of weird. It's kind of sketchy. It seems like maybe they're being paid to do this. And we've seen this before in the past. We've even seen things like Craigslist ads for people to come out and protest and get paid for it. There's also like certain, voter organizations, political organizations, things like that, that will organize these events and get people out there and even pay people. So, and maybe not everyone's paid, but they get a group of people out there, and then it attracts more people, and there's people coming in and out. But there's always like a steady group of people to be at these facilities, and it's just kind of strange, right? Where's their funding coming from? How can they just do this all day and night, battling federal agents? It's just wild. Let's listen to more of this.
Has been restricted from responding or cooperating at all with federal authorities, which is completely absurd.
Also last night, Portland police say they arrested two men who refused to get out of the street and engaged in aggressive behavior toward each other during the protests. Again, just some of the ongoing violence in that area, John. Very, very disturbing.
Yeah, Christina Coleman, what a week. Thank you. We just, received this statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office. The Chicago U.S. Attorney's Office is aware of this serious incident, which placed officer life and safety at risk. This Department of Justice does not tolerate assaults and obstruction of our brave men and women in federal law enforcement. We will investigate and prosecute all those who assault or obstruct federal law enforcement, including public officials, and we will hold them accountable to the full extent of the law. That statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
All right, so that's coming from the Department of Justice on this incident for this group that it seemed like multiple people in multiple cars, they were saying, that boxed in these ICE agents and then got out of the car armed, ready to confront them. And then this lady was even saying online before, let's go do this. I don't know how these people get away with saying these things online, all this stuff, and are able to get this close to ICE agents at all. I don't understand how this person wasn't already dealing with some type of issues, right? You can also see here that over 1,000 people have been arrested in Chicago, right? We will get into more of that in just a second. But also, it says here the White House officials inadvertently reveals plan to send elite Army unit to Portland. All right, so it says Anthony Salisbury displayed chat about deployment of the 82nd Airborne Division on cell phone while in Minnesota. All right, so he was in a public place. Somebody apparently saw his phone that he was texting about this and sending in the Army's 82nd Airborne Division into Portland, all right, because they're worried that the National Guard are not equipped to really deal with this and handle this. The National Guard are, good people, but they don't see combat, okay, like the normal military does. A lot of their role is mostly support roles and response roles, okay? They're like responding to emergency situations, helping in the aftermath of big things happening, big storms, big events, social unrest, but they have a limit, and they are talking about deploying the 82nd Airborne Unit to Portland. All right, so pretty wild to hear. This would most likely have to come under something like the Insurrection Act, something along those lines, to actually deploy U.S. military units there that aren't just National Guard. But it is possible, and it is something that they are talking about apparently behind the scenes, and this chat did leak. All right, so also a little concerning that these chats, someone's able to just like see it in public over someone's shoulder. It's concerning and needs to, be straightened up as well too. Thankfully, it wasn't something that critical or important. But let's listen to this here as well too, because Chicago and Portland are just getting hit hard right now with federal assets. All right, they're deploying them like crazy, and they have arrested over 1,000 people already in Chicago. So let's listen to this really quick for some more details.
President Trump is ordering a review of Oregon's federal funding as Antifa chaos continues in Portland.
Meanwhile, radical agitators have spent nearly 100 nights straight laying siege outside the city's ICE facility.
Just really quick, 100 nights straight. How do they have money for this, time for this? The families or friends or anything? I just don't understand. How are they getting paid to do this? It's really wild, honestly. And if they are doing this, I mean, are they on like federal benefits? Are they on SNAP, EBT, getting all these benefits so they can just do this all day? It seems just wild. I don't know how 100 days straight. They've been here since June outside this facility, and it's just insane in Portland.
Painter is here with all the details. Chanley.
Hey, good morning. That's right. Trump's announcement coming as the violent anti-ICE clashes persist in Portland since early June. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying this. Watch.
President Trump will end the radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all. The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other left-wing domestic terrorists. This is not peaceful protesting. This is left-wing anarchy.
ICE's Portland director says the facility is under constant attack with little help from local police because of political directives from city leaders. And the nightly protests have escalated beyond just chants and signs. Bottle rockets are striking ICE buildings, rocks are shattering windows, lasers targeting officers' eyes, and barricades blocking vehicles. On Friday, the FBI said 2 federal citations were issued in just the past 24 hours, as well as 27 active and pending investigations and 130 arrests. Following 100 days since agitators have laid siege to that ICE facility, Portland FBI is posting this quote: "We continue to work with our partners to investigate instances of violence and destruction of property and hold those individuals accountable." And meanwhile, in Illinois, protests also persist there, guys, as federal agents announced the arrest of more than 1,000 illegal aliens as part of Operation Midway Blitz, a sweeping crackdown they launched earlier this month. Guys, back to you.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
All right, so you heard that there. 1,000 people already arrested. They're saying illegal aliens inside of Chicago alone. Okay, and something to understand too is that these are people that have active deportation and removal orders inside of the country. Okay, so they can't just, send any random person off to and deport them. They have to get a order from a judge. They're given multiple hearings, things like that, until they get a quote final removal order before they can even be deported. And that takes, multiple court dates. Most of the times it takes years, at least, months and months for these things to happen. So it's not just, snatching up random people. They know exactly who these people are. They have lists, they have court logs, they have court orders, but they just have not been followed the past 4 years under the Biden administration. So that's why they have such a backlog. They just have tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people on these rolls and that have these final removal orders. And they've been going through and enacting the orders, okay, that they legally have from the judge. So it's one of these things where they've had their due process, most of these people, right? So to see 1,000 already is kind of wild, just in one city. And there's probably, some of these cities have, like New York, I remember reporting on, their illegal alien population was 60, 70,000 people, sometimes up to 80,000 people that they just knew of, okay, that were in their system, that were staying in, like hotels or housing provided by New York City, okay, and that's just one city. So a lot of these cities have tens of thousands of people in them that are potentially not supposed to be in the country. And this is going to be a huge operation for ICE and DHS to undergo, right? So they've also completely slowed down any people entering through the southern border as well, too. There was no crossings over the past month, all right, which is almost unbelievable, but it's what happened, all right? Nobody was let into the country that wasn't allowed to be here, all right? Because a lot of times there was just like catch and release. They will catch someone, release them back in until they can get their court date, to see if they can stay. They can claim temporary asylum, things like that. But over the past month, they announced that there were 0 asylum claims or anything like that processed through the U.S. southern border. Okay, so pretty wild to just see how big of a change happens just with a different administration. All right, so let me know what you guys think down below. All right, we also saw independent journalist Nick Sorter was arrested in Portland as well too, because the Department of Justice was mentioning this earlier in the video as well, that the local and the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt was saying it too, that the local police are not coordinating with the feds and ICE, DHS, and sometimes they're even working against them, right? Some of these cities, I think Portland, they're actively drafting plans where they can arrest federal agents, right? So they're trying to get them on charges now. So even arrest the federal and ICE agents, DHS agents, trying to get them on state charges, okay? So there's like this big battle going on. And some of them are even actively going against, they're helping the protesters, even some of them rioters getting violent, things like this. And that's what happened here with independent journalist Nick Sorter. Okay, he was arrested, and all he was trying to do was put out an American flag that was burning. Okay, and then he was attacked, and he was just pushing, he was getting people off himself, or there's a group that attacked him. He was trying to get them off of himself, and then he was arrested for disorderly conduct. And that's like one of these charges where it could just mean anything. Honestly, it's very broad, and it doesn't really mean much. There's not like a set code violation for disorderly conduct, like, oh, you did this or this specifically. It's a very broad charge, and almost anyone can be charged with it for very just like simple things. Okay, so he didn't light a flag on fire, he didn't attack people or anything, but he put it out and he was attacked, he defended himself. So he was charged, okay, because the police don't like him, they don't like his political viewpoint, and so he was targeted, right? They're trying to shut him down, they're trying to get him out of there and silence him. They don't want him videoing this because he's a very effective voice. Okay, so let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you guys are staying prepared, staying stocked up, staying ready, and avoiding any of this chaos. If this is near you, try to stay away, right? Unless you are, maybe documented like a journalist, something along those lines. That's different, but even then, try to stay away. Don't get involved, don't get in the middle, and make it known that you're just there to document and you're not involved in any of it. Okay, so be ready, be prepared. This could be your city next. Okay, this could be, I think next summer as well too is going to be the big one. Okay, because it's almost winter time. A lot of these places, it's going to be freezing cold. Okay, Portland, Chicago, things like that. It's going to be cold at night. These people are going to go home. They're not just going to stand out there in a blizzard to protest ICE. But I think that energy could be pent up over winter time, and then next spring, next fall, they could have their resources together. They could have their funding together to really unleash a lot of protests and agitators to country or to cities all over the country. Okay, so just be prepared, be ready. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you're having big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.